If you have applications with high volumes of data, complex data, you have certainly already implemented or reflected on implementing filtering capabilities to your users that are fast, easy, and intuitive. In the world of web applications, a common pattern to address this filter capability is by offering a left side filter bar on the screen, neatly organized in categories with easy to understand data in these filter bars, and with also controls that match the data type for which you want to provide filtering. All that with in mind the seminal book from Steve Krug, Don't Make Me Think. And with that in mind, we have introduced recently the FNC FilterView. And the FNC FilterView is part of the FNC UI Pack and offers visual, intuitive filtering capabilities in your applications. It supports several data types and is of course highly extensible and flexible. You can customize the filter values that are generated from it. You can also customize the expressions created. You can involve your custom controls in case you want to edit or filter for custom data, and you can directly bind that filter view control to a dataset, our typical beloved Delphi dataset, and also directly bind it to our FNC data grid, be it without a data binding or in a data binding scenario. And our filter view is available for VCL Windows applications, for cross-platform FireMonkey applications, and also for WEB Core web client applications. Let's dive into the IDE and have a look at our FNC Filter View. And we are going to demonstrate our filter view in a new VCL application. So let's create that from the Delphi IDE. Here is the main form in the new VCL application, and we are going to add a filter view on the main form. This is the default filter view, where you can see that there are already two expression value editors in the filter view. One with the name field here. We are going to change the second one to use a different name. And here we are going to add, for example, city. And we are going to show you the basics already with this default configuration of our filter view. And to do that, we are going to visualize the generated filter text in our memo control. So we do this by updating the text with the generated filter text from the filter view. This property, filter text, returns at all times the generated filter text based on the values filled into the filter view. We're going to see that here when I run this, so we have a filter on the field name, and we have different filter capabilities. For example, contains, and here we say ABC, and the city, for example, that starts with B. And let's see what kind of filter it generated. You can see here that it filtered on the field name and searches for text that contains ABC and a city that starts with the letter B. You might recognize this filter pattern, as this is the filter as it can be applied to a data set. And that is of course configurable from our filter view. If we have a look at the properties for our filter view, you can see here the filter format type. That is by default the filter format as the Delphi dataset expects it. You can also customize this, have the filter view generate a custom filter format, or you can also set it to universal filter expressions. And that is, for example, a filter format that matches with our FNC data grid. Let's leave it to the data set, or better, let's make it custom, because when you set the filter format type to custom, it will use these settings here under filter parse format, and this is the series of settings it will use to generate your filter expression. And so here you can see, for example, when you specify an equal condition for your filter, that it will here in this case use an equal character or sign, and with the value after the equal sign. And so each of the possible filter operations you can customize to your own liking, but as I said, we will use the dataset type of filter expression, as that can immediately be used by a dataset. Also important to notice is that you can fully customize the user interface language of our filter view control. Default, it is the English language, but here you can see that you can customize each of the text that is displayed in the filter view control. We have here our filter view, the filter view where you can add different filter items, and you can see that you have different types of filter items that you can add. For example, if you would want to offer a filtering based on a field in your database that is a date field, you might want to add a date picker for that, or select from multiple items in a combo box if that is better suitable for the kind of filtering that you want to offer, or you want to add a check group or radio group. All these capabilities are possible. Important to note is that when you add multiple items to the filter view, you can set the logical operator between these different items that were added to the filter view. We have the global logical operator, and you can find this property here, the group operator. So on all items in our filter view, it will by default generate an AND logical operation, but you can also, of course, select the OR operation. If you add a panel to the filter view, again, on that panel that can contain multiple filter items, you can select here again the group operator within that panel then, of course, and you can also select between the AND and OR logical operation. And so by combining the logical group operators of your filter view, adding panels to bundle or group other separate filter items and set the logical operator between them, you can create complete trees of logical operations of filter items. Let's have a look at, for example, custom controls. What I will do here is add a radio group, and suppose that we have a radio group that should ask for filtering for temperatures. So what we are going to do, well, let's add maybe another label here in between, and that will be the temperature label. We can set it like this. Notice that this is an FNC label that also supports HTML formatting. And so here we have our radio group, and for the radio group we have the default filter properties. And here you can specify that, for example, the value of the selected value within our radio group will perform the filtering on, for example, a field temperature. And this could be a numeric field, so we set it to number. And let's take indeed the equal condition here. On top of that, you can add multiple filter expressions. With filter expressions, it is possible to have a visual presentation of the filter item data a visual representation that matches what is living in the context of your users, but maps on different values in, for example, your data set. Here, in this case, when we talk about low, medium and high temperatures, that could map onto a numeric temperature field, where for low we specify some kind of value that matches what is considered low. So what we can do for that is, for example, add the filter expression, and we will add two here in this case. One to handle the case low, and low could be as a filter condition anything that is lower than or smaller than 20 degrees Celsius. For our high property value, then we would, for example, use 30 degrees and have any value that is larger than. And then of course we need also the medium case, which is the case between 20 and 30 degrees. As we can select here from the expression operator these different options, there is not something here in between that matches what would be falling in a range from 2. What we are going to do for that is implement the on the filter view an event on filter view item parse, and that event is triggered for any filter item that we have in our filter view. It is triggered for every item, and for every item we can customize the filter expression that is being generated. I have prepared a code snippet to win some time, and here in this code snippet you can see that if the filter item applies to the field temperature and the value of that filter matches medium, which is our second setting in that radio group, then this is here the filter expression that will be generated. So, and here actually I need to change this to temperature, and of course here also temperature. That is what will be expected in our filter expression. And so let's run this application and see this already in effect. If we select low, you can see that the filter generated for that is that the temperature should be below 20 degrees. When we select medium, you can see that temperature should be larger than 20 or equal, and smaller or equal than 30, and for the high condition it should be larger than 30. So we have mapped actually something that is easily understandable by your users, the low, medium and high value on custom numeric values that we have specified through filter expressions, and with some help here of the on filter item on the filter view item parse, have a custom part of our filter expression. We can do, of course, more. For example, we can let's add a range, a date range. For example, we could do that by adding a label where we first specify the from part. So let's specify here from, and here we add our date picker. Here is our date picker, and then we add another label 2 if we would want to offer a typical date range selection. Here we add our second date picker, and now we are going to have a look at our default filter properties, and here we are going to use indeed the filter field name date, and let's say if we want to allow the selection of a range, that it should be larger or equal than the starting date and smaller or equal than the ending date. And That's why we choose here smaller than or equal. And if we run it and have a look at the result, if we select, for example, let's say we have holidays from 25 December to 1 January, we can see here that the filter condition generated is the date should be larger or equal than 25 December and smaller than equal than January 1st, 26. That's also another capability offered in our filter view. And then a last item that I wanted to demonstrate is the container for custom controls. So here we have added a container, and in that container you can drop whatever you want. I'm going to add here an FNC calendar, so that's yet another way to offer date selection to your users. And what we are now going to need, of course, is to map the value that is selected in this FNC calendar to the filter for our control, for our container control. So the container control again has a filter expression property, field name that could be, let's say, calendar. And what we are going to do now is we need to update that filter expression with the value that will be selected when we have clicked on a date in our calendar. And here it will, of course, for a calendar be a date. And so what we are going to do is handle the event on select date. And where here is this event, and what we are going to do is we have our let's have a look at what the name is of this, the FNC FilterView control container, TMS FNC FilterView control container, filter expression, and then filter value text will be, and here we will return it as text. We can also set it as a variant filter value. Let's set it as text to make it easily visible. And here we are going to use that FNC calendar selected date like this, the date, and we are going to set it to the filter value text. And let's have a look at how this is already visible. We will select 25 December, and okay, we see now that the calendar should not be null, but that requires some more modification of our filter expression for our control container. And here we set it to equal, for example. And now if we select 25 December and click on the button to get our filter text, we can see here field name that we specified for that control container, field name that was set to calendar, and we see the value that we have selected here with our custom control added in this control container. When we select another date, you can see that this filter text value has been updated. So I think the possibilities are limitless. You can create any kind of filtering with any kind of user interface in an easy, fast and convenient way for your users. And so in the next episode we will show you how you can connect that to a data set and also a data grid, and of course further customizations, extensions that you can do to our filter view. And with that, I hope I have already inspired you and made you enthusiastic to start exploring our filter view components. 2 more blog articles have been written recently with more details on what you can do and how you can achieve that with our new FNC FilterView control. There's also the online documentation that you can consult, And our FNC UI Pack, of course, contains a demo that shows the filter view in action for a VCL application, a FireMonkey cross-platform application, and also a WEB Core web client application. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next episode covering more details about our FNC Filter View. And don't forget to subscribe with the link below or the button below here, this video, to be informed when we have our next video ready for you. Thank you.